Hello and welcome to another 9-minute Bible study. Our starting point, 2 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 1. Before we get started, King Ahaz at the end of chapter 28 had just died. King Ahaz, he left his nation bankrupt because he did not worship the Lord, nor did the people. The nation was spiritually bankrupt. To make matters worse, he closed the temple, preventing everyone from worshiping the Lord. He left his nation morally bankrupt. They changed the morality from the worship of the Lord to the morality of the nations all around them. Because King Ahaz rejected the worship of the Lord, because he shut down the temple, because he changed the morality, the nation became militarily bankrupt, economically bankrupt, politically bankrupt, socially bankrupt, and diplomatically bankrupt. As we said at the end of the last lesson, the best thing King Ahaz did for Judah was die. Why? Because his son is going to be a godly man. Chapter 29, verse 1. Hezekiah began to reign when he was 25 years old, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Abijah, the daughter of Zechariah, verse 2. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that David his father had done. So what do we see here? A complete and total change. Hezekiah, unlike his father who worshipped every idol, King Hezekiah worshipped the Lord his God. Instead of having his father being his role model, his great-grandfather into the past, David, became his role model. If you're going to have a role model in those days, let it be a man who was known as a man after God's own heart. Hezekiah, he inherited this bankrupt nation, and he realized what his father did wasn't working. Therefore, this man who worships the Lord, who now has the morality of the Word of God, he is going to begin to change his nation. Verse 3. He, Hezekiah, in the first year of his reign, in the first month, the very first thing he did as king, he opened the doors of the house of the Lord and repaired them. King Ahaz, the prior king, he thought the worship of the Lord was the problem in Judah. He was wrong. King Hezekiah, he realized the worship of the Lord was the solution to the problem. The reason why his nation was bankrupt in all 7 areas, they stopped worshiping the Lord. That's why, in his first official act as king, he ordered the temple opened. For the first time in 7 years, it's going to be legal to worship the Lord. The only problem, the priest, the Levites, the temple, they are not yet ready for service. The temple, it's been sitting there for 7 years, not being used. The priest, they have not been practicing anything regarding what they were supposed to do because it was illegal to do so. The Levites, who were called to serve, they can't serve because it was illegal for them to do so. Now here comes a king who says it's all going to reopen, but it's going to take a little bit of time for these people to get their act together and to get the worship of the Lord up and running. Now, let's apply this to the New Testament. Types and shadows. Types. King Hezekiah. He is the type of our king, and who is the king? Jesus. Our king, he wants to see a massive move of God before the end of the age. The Levites. This would be the type of those who have been called to help. I can give you 4 areas which is listed in the Old Testament which still apply today. 1. Worship. 2. The porters, or those who were the gatekeepers. 3. Those who were in charge of the business, the offerings, and the tithes. And then the fourth area, those who worked in the ministry to make sure everything functioned. These four, they applied then, they apply now. We need those who are called to worship. We need those who are experts in business because the church has a lot of business to run. We need gatekeepers, and they're more than just ushers. The gatekeepers in the old, they made sure the false stayed out. We need a new generation of ushers or porters who know the truth so well that they can keep the false out. And then general helpers. What does he mean like that? Someone's got to clean the restrooms. Someone has got to clean the auditorium. Somebody's got to pour all of the wine and the juice into the communion cups. There is so much that happens in a church that we need strong helpers to do these tasks. In the old, they were not able to do their job. Now it's time to get ready to do that job. The priest. This would be the type of the fivefold ministry. The apostles, the prophets, the pastors, the evangelists, and the teachers. These are called to work in the church. Now, in the old, priests were unable to perform their duties. Now they're being called back. What we're going to see as we move along is those who have neglected the call. The Lord is going to call them back in this last time move to fulfill the call that God had on their life. Just because one neglected the call does not mean the call left. It means that God is calling once again for them to minister, just like the modern helpers are being called to help in this end time move. One other type and shadow here. That would be the temple. In the New Testament era, obviously, it's the church. And I'm not referring necessarily to the building. I am referring to the called out group of believers. A church is the fivefold ministry, the helpers, and the congregation. All of us together, we make up the church. Everyone doing their own role, doing what God called them to do, but that makes us the church. What is Jesus saying right now? Jesus is saying that we are open for business, and it's time for all to answer their call, be it the fivefold ministry, or the helpers, or the congregation, or what we all do together. When we do this, we will see a mighty move of God as never before, but only when we work in unity. And we will pick up with this in our next lesson.